July 12th. I'm glad you're here. Grab a coffee and let's get smarter together. I want to talk some more about quantum physics and consciousness. But today I want to focus on a similar difficulty researchers in both fields face. It might or might not be rooted in the fact that both groups basically study the same phenomenon, just under different names and from different perspectives. What I'm talking about is the fact that neither can be studied with the objectivity we require today from science. The distinction between subjectivity and objectivity was invented in the 17th century by Enlightenment. It is considered today a basic idea of philosophy. Something is subjective when it is dependent on a mind. Something is subjectively true if it's exclusively true when considered from the viewpoint of a sentient being. Biases, perceptions, emotions, opinions, and imaginations fall into this category. Something is objective when it can be confirmed independently of a mind. Something is labeled objectively true when it's true even when it's considered outside the viewpoint of a sentient being. The laws of nature fall into this category. Gravity, for example, will cause you to fall with a set acceleration, 9.81 meters per square second, on Earth once you jump from a cliff, whether you believe in gravity or not. Hence, the philosophers of Enlightenment concluded that a true scientific method can always ever only be a purely objective method. There exists only one consciousness, however, and in any person can be certain of. And that is their own consciousness, and that's a highly subjective conclusion that depends on our own mind and our own mind alone. The existence of any other consciousness is an assumption made by us based on the experience of our own consciousness and science, how this experience might translate into the physical world. A physical world of which we are only aware of as a model, a best guess, so to say, which we generate ourselves based on an extremely limited set of data selected from an extremely limited set of data that our sensors collect. So, how in the world do you want to find facts about consciousness that can be confirmed independently from the mind of a researcher? Complicated, right? Well, here comes quantum physics and says, hold my beer. You see, back at the turn of the last century, physicists had come up with a system of laws that seemed to pretty much explain everything. They were so confident that the professor advised a young Max Planck to find a different subject if he really wanted to contribute to humankind. That was until they discovered that particles sometimes acted like waves and waves sometimes acted like particles. And that blew their whole system into smithereens. Sure, you have Gödel saying that some true statements can't be proven. But these were not just demonstrably true statements. Nature acted like this. They contradicted the set of rules they had come up in classical physics. So back to the drawing board they went. Einstein came up with light quanta, something we now call photons, to explain particle-like behavior of waves. Bohr and de Broglie took care of the wave-like behavior of particles. But there was still the problem that all this didn't fit into the rules of classical physics. Along came Heisenberg, recovering from hay fever on Helgoland, and said, I got this. His solution? Let's throw objectivity out of the window. Well, he used different words and didn't just smash Descartes. He argued that when photons and electron orbits, etc. are so troublesome, let's deny they exist. Let's forget what's really happening and focus on what we can observe, what we subjectively can perceive. What does this mean? Classical physics is based on the principle that everything can be objectively and unmistakably described using two measurable information: position and momentum. Heisenberg now proposed that we rather think of them as observables, not quantities with defined values, but questions that researchers can ask and then answer with measurements. The answer does not exist until the researcher has asked the question. In the end, it is the researcher that brings the measurement's outcome into existence. Just as it is the researcher that brings consciousness into existence because they interact with the physical world and ask questions. What the researchers in either case aren't doing is revealing an objective truth. What lies behind this twist is, in the science story, back to how exploration has always been done by humans, is an admission. We as humans aren't a conqueror who has come to master the physical universe. We are a part of it. The universe is in its most basic energy. Energy is information. As soon as we, also energy and a lot of information, get ourselves in the midst of something to extract information, we influence what was there. The answers will always be therefore rather subjective. They get their objectivity through widespread collaboration, and we are back to the fact that exploration is a grassroots ops. And all need to enable each other to take part in it. Explore. As Anonas, think. Make a habit out of thinking. Let's turn thinking into the norm again. Like, comment, share, and follow, lest you miss a single opportunity to improve yourself and society. Once you do, we meet again at the coffee pot.